this one that was one of the writers. It says failure to use BVN NIN to track perpetrators' indictments on security agents.
Definitely. You know, the Abuja, when he was on the side, we said that any crime that lasts for, is it 24 hours or 48 hours, the hand of the government is in it. I'm quoting him. And there's a truth in that. Because after doing the NIN and BVN and all the rest, meaning that it's easy to track. But our security agencies have never been ready to do that tracking. We have not seen it work because these kidnappers use people's phones to call, or their own, to call people, which we are doing a link. But we don't see it. So the government should get out of this. From what is going on, politicians, military, security agents are complicit. They are involved in this kidnapping. They are. If they are not, let us see results. We can't continue like this. We can't. So they are supposed to make use of these things, these gadgets, you know, this technology and all that, for the good of each and everybody.
Wow. And we're hoping to see more results come out from this.
Until we see.
Until we see. That's a very important one. Okay. Let's just take this last story, and of course, well, it's still on insecurity. Let's just take the story, and that's how we'll wrap up the segment. And this one is on insecurity. It says bandits abduct 17 in Niger. Tinubu summons service chiefs. FG6 France's help. IGP deploys DIGs to Abuja. Security agents have gone to sleep. And that's coming from Senator King Igbe. France, federal government seeking France's help, you know, to help sort out the challenges of insecurity. Do you think is the right call in the right direction?
You know, under President Goodluck Jonathan, when he wanted to involve mercenaries, people rose against that. All right? That we can do it. But we have not done it. There's no sincerity among our leadership to do it. And when a U.S. citizen was kidnapped, we see U.S. move from their country, come to this, I think, Kaduna, and rescue their man. So, if involving the international community, we get our results, we have to do that. Because our people are not getting it right. Our security forces are not getting it right. The matter is, some friends were to go for wedding last weekend, and they were moving from Abuja here to Abia State, somewhere along the Enugu. You know, this kidnapping incident happened where these kidnappers offloaded 3 buses, kidnapped 45 persons. 7 of them were a Shebi team for the person to wait. You know, all dragged into the bush, and they contacted the, and this is going on all over the place. You know, so if getting the international community will give all the sincerity of purpose, why not do it? Then when our people feel ashamed that outsiders are coming to their enclave to do what they are supposed to do, then let them wake up. If that is what will trigger off sincerity and seriousness among our security forces. Yes.
Today on the show, we are going to be looking into, like I said, it is something that has been affecting Nigerians and of course still affects Nigerians everywhere today. Now, when we cannot talk about Nigeria at this point, at this time, without talking about social investment, you know, which has become a part of us at the time. And one of the reasons that this has been is due to the economic challenges, you know, that is bedeviling us as a country. And the thing about social investment programs and all that became stronger after the COVID, you know, and that was when the words like palliative became very, very strong in the Nigerian dictionary. And from that time up until now, we have seen many things go on with that. This is not to say that before the COVID, we didn't have other social investment programs like the UN program in the during the Goodluck Jonathan regime, of course, the Buhari regime started the Empower, and so many others that has been done just to make sure that Nigerians, at different levels, could enjoy some level of respite when it comes to the economic challenges, facing us as a country. However, some quarters have said that the way the government is going about implementation of these policies, it could have been done better. And that's why today we are going to be discussing restructuring social investment program in Nigeria. I still have boss Alex Ugo, who is an Esquire. He's a chartered mediator, as well as a human rights activist. Still with me right here in the studio. It's still great to have you on the show, boss Alex.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, very soon we're also going to be joined virtually by another guest. As soon as we're able to connect to her, we would definitely get to introduce. Oh yes, introduce her. That's it. Okay, so for you, looking at the way we have gone about our quest for social investment programs, what would you have to say about it?
The social investment program, if well managed, is a very welcome development. But what we have seen is that the government in power decides to cluster resources around this segment and fritter it away, greater part of it. That made the PDP presidential candidate in the last election, Atiku Abubakar, to say that the Ministry for Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation is the ATM machine of the government in power. And that is the truth. The excuse me, the current regime under President Buhari, Tinubu, made a pledge that as a way to alleviate the effect of subsidy removal on the civil servants, even on the pensioners, that 25,000 should be paid for 3 months, October, November, December 2023.
That's
No, 25.
For pensioners.
Yeah, pensioners,
Yeah,
25.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, this, and it is expected that this ministry should handle it. If there is sincerity, we have a body that has effectively managed the affairs of pensioners, and that is PTAD, Pension Transitional, yes, Now, that PTAD has all the data of the pensioners. What this ministry should have done is to liaise with PTAD, check the data of the pensioners involved, and release the money to PTAD to effectively pay the pensioners. And it will be done smoothly. But there was a struggle. The ministry doesn't want it. And the ministry had to ask for the list from PTAD, which I think the PTAD availed them, gave them the list. As we are speaking now, that payment has not started at all. It hasn't started. So they cluster all these things with others, and humongous amount is mustered. And by the time you know it, the whole thing disappears into thin air. So unbundling that ministry is extremely important for every Nigerian. You see, the unfortunate incident involving the Minister for Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, that's Dr. Betta Edu, as EFCC is still investigating, for me, it's not more of the problem of Betta Edu. It is the problem of the government in power, what they want, how they want the resources handled. Because when you look at it, the 3 billion that the president approved for verification of the social register is this regime that approved it. And you look at the organizations or companies that went to do the verification, these were companies that are linked up to people close to power. So it is not the issue of the minister now. Anybody made the Minister for Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation will still be used by the government in power to filter resources. At the end of the day, you descend on the minister, it's not the fault of the minister. Let's remove the mask from the masquerade. And then we declare that the government in power is using this particular establishment to accomplish some selfish interest. That is the basic thing. So there's need to unbundle. We shouldn't cluster so much under this establishment and pump money there and freestyle it away. Like I said, the one that involves pensioners, let Peter handle that. The one that will go to civil servants, there's a head of service and all that. The resources should go there and get to the establishments. Then, Minister for Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation will have less to tackle that the Empower can do. If it's not unbundled, this whole cluster will continue and will keep changing ministers sent to that particular establishment. But the fault is not with the ministers. The fault is how each administration wants to manage public resources on urgent matters. That is the fact.
Okay, well, while you were talking, we were joined by boss Mrs. Faith Nwadishi, who is actually the Executive Director, Center for Transparency Advocacy. Boss, good morning to you. Hello, good morning. Okay, looks like a little bit of network challenges, but we're going to connect with her as soon as we can. But let's continue.
Yes.
With the conversation. So, from what you have said so far, do you think there was Okay. Oh wow, we've connected. Hello, Boss Faith. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, boss. How are you today? And how does it feel being part of the show?
Great privilege. Thank you for inviting.
You're welcome, boss. All right, please. Let's get into the conversation. I'm very sure that you heard a bit from what my guest in the studio, boss Alex, was saying. Right here in the studio. For you, do you think there was a need in the first place to have, that a ministry, humanitarian affairs ministry? Seeing that, looking at what we are having right now, that is as though some of the things that they're handling was what could have been handled by some already existing agencies, ministries that are already existing. Hello, boss.
Hello, yes, please. I didn't hear your question.
Okay, so the question is, do you think there was a need for the creation of a humanitarian ministry to start with, seeing that most of the things that they are doing, most of their functions could have just been attached to some of the existing agencies, ministries, and departments?
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you again for having me. Good morning and Happy New Year to all the listeners out there. Well, if you recall, one of the reasons why the humanitarian ministry was set up was part of the aftermath of the COVID that we had. And because they needed to have a ministry, from the sector or the policy environment in Nigeria, usually you measure government political will by the priorities that is set or what they give importance to. And you know that when you create a ministry, it shows that you are giving importance to a certain area. That was the initial thinking about all of this. So creating a humanitarian ministry was actually to take away part of that social impact from the Ministry of Women Affairs, so that you now have somebody at the highest level of decision making, looking into that. But unfortunately, what we have seen is that rather than addressing that priority of government, it has become another conduit for siphoning of funds and a huge cesspit for corruption that we see happening. When that ministry was created, actually, I was one of those people who were happy that that ministry was created, that we're going to now have government at all of these issues around, humanitarian issues, around poverty alleviation, addressing the people, the masses, the people at the grassroots, the vulnerable people, creating opportunities for youth and women, to have direct access, direct linkages. But unfortunately, this is what we have seen. And because it is at that highest level, what we really need to do is not giving back the duties to other agencies, but to see how we can take even the duties from those agencies and put them under that humanitarian ministry and get somebody who is truly committed to addressing the issue of poverty in this country to oversee that. Now, let's take this government, for instance. When the government came in, they removed subsidy. Some of us also campaigned for the removal of subsidy because we knew the impact it was having on our economy, on and other indicators for economic growth in the country. But unfortunately, when the subsidy was removed, there were no real plans on the ground on how to do that. And so we thought that the humanitarian ministry, working together with the social uh, intervention programs that we're having in the country, would be able to address that. So you have some of these social protection issues that is kind of directly in the purview of the ministry, not being taken care of, rather than taking care of the poor people, the people who were giving is just like giving fish to the cat in your house to look at. My people have said that if you want to protect fish in the house, give it to the cat will look at it. But unfortunately, we have seen leaders that you give them the fish to keep, they rather take the chunk portion for themselves rather than giving it out to the people. But you see, social investment is something, and protection is something that we really, really need to take as priority for this government. And that's why the humanitarian ministry is still very relevant to whatever discussions, especially looking at the welfare mandate of government. We need to be able to put that squarely on the table of whoever is in charge of that. But being able to play proper oversight on that ministry is what I see that is a gap.
Okay, thank you so very much for sharing your thoughts. Boss Alex, do you think that the way that we're going around this social investment, the system,
Yes.
the systemic approach strategy, we are using for it, do you think we are really getting it right? Or do you think it will get us to the right place?
First of all, permit me to disagree with my sister.
Okay.
Because she was saying instead, everything that pertains to humanitarian assistance should be removed from other agencies and put in this ministry of humanitarian affairs and poverty alleviation, and you get a competent hand. Look, there's nobody you put in to be a minister of that establishment that the government in power will not use. That's one thing we need to know. How power operates in this country. They put you there and they use you to achieve their end. If the public gets to know about the wrongdoings, they push you out as a scapegoat and warn you that if you mention their names, you go in. This is what happens. That's why during the COVID-19, the minister then, when she mentioned the humongous amount the claim was used to feed children that were in their parents' houses, which we all knew didn't happen. By the time she was interrogated, she said, as the president directs, because she didn't make up her mind to clear that amount. It was the president that requested for that amount and had to be passed through that establishment, and she happened to be on the seat, on the saddle, as at the time that money was used, filtered away. So we don't need to add more to that ministry. They already have more than they can chew. There's so much money around. That is why you can hear about 40-something billion, and that they were seeing the thing lying around and doing nothing. They now decided it's time to perch on it and do whatever they want to do. We need to remove much from that ministry. That's a cluster of resources that is turning to a temptation to those who were around looking at it. And the next thing is to think of what to do with it. That establishment should have less to do. The functional establishment that are seasoned over time should be empowered to do work. That is the best. Like I mentioned, head of service, I mentioned pension transitional arrangement directorate, PTAD, for pensioners. These are very well established, effectively functional government agencies that can help us solve problems. The one that they can do should be given over to them to do. Then there should be less special cases that this ministry should be allowed to do. No matter who you put in as the minister there, the person cannot have a mind of his or her own. Any day you have a mind of your own, you'll be removed. The government in power using whoever is there as a poster character.
Now let's get back to the question I asked.
Yes.
Yes, and the question was the way we are going about it, the strategy we are using for our social investment,
Yes.
and all that. Is it okay? Is it the right way to go about it? Or should there be something different?
If there is sincerity, like Empower, where 30,000 were paid to people who were recruited as ad hoc teachers. I know some people on ground who participated in that assignment.
Well, many did not participate and they were still collecting
You
things.
see that that goes to issue of monitoring. There were those who were effective in it, and that thing kept them busy and kept them happy and got some results in schools where they functioned. The ones that did not participate is issue of monitoring to deal with such people. Because, the society is dynamic. Challenges come up at different times. It's just like when flooding happens. People are affected by the flooding. And to reach out to them is necessary. And time mostly too. If nothing is done, it becomes the worst. But when it is done and monitored, we get the best of results. So it's monitoring that we need. It's monitoring that we need. And the National Assembly, for goodness sake, should wake up. National Assembly has a lot of resources open to them. When they go for oversight functions, please, they should do oversight functions and start looking for money from the establishments to pocket on top of the one they have. These are facts on ground. When you hear National Assembly talking of going for oversight, if you are the one in the establishment where you don't prepare huge amount for their pocket, a bad report will come that you are not functional. That is unhealthy. Advanced countries where people are jumping to, they don't do things like that. Sorry. If they talk of oversight, oversight is oversight. And it makes you to work. But when you know that those who are coming for oversight, once you settle them, you're okay. What are we talking about? These are the areas where we even have the problem we have. Let the National Assembly, for goodness sake, be sincere. Now, Nigerians are suffering terribly after the removal of subsidy. People are finding it difficult to move, difficult to feed. The cost of everything is rising. The government wants to increase the tariff on electricity again. And that is how increase is coming everywhere on expenses. But no increment in income to Nigerians. So National Assembly should know that they are overfed from our tax, from our resources. They are. When they go for oversight, please, they should do sincere oversight, corrective oversight, so that we can move forward for once.
All right, boss, you're listening to us and you want to add your voice to the discussion that we are having in the studio this morning. You can do that by putting the call through to us on 0902 922 2944 or 0807 777 3288. Our WhatsApp bottle number is 0901 625 2525. Remember that you can get your friends, family members, everyone to listen to us via our online stream platforms at Radio Garden and online radio box. We are at Boss FM 95.5 Abuja and on our website www.bossfm.ng. You can also listen to us. And let's also not forget the fact that you can go follow us on our social media platforms at Boss FM 95.5 Abuja fan page. That's Facebook, Instagram at Boss FM 95.5 Abuja, and on Twitter at Boss FM 95. All right, let's get back to you, Boss Faith. Now, some some Nigerians have clamored, when it comes to the matters of palliatives, for instance, issues of palliatives. We've seen the conditional cash transfers. We've seen the government come out to say, okay, a certain amount of monies will be added to the income, just a cushion effect. Even state governments, some have done 10,000, some 20,000, some 25,000 in federal for pensions, and of course, workers 35,000 and all that. Now, some people have come out to say that these monies that are being given out, on regular intervals, is not helping solve the challenges Nigerians are facing as a people when it comes to, the economic challenges. Do you agree with them? And if you do, what ways do you think are better ways to still carry out social investment programs that will benefit the citizens more than what we have at the moment?
Yeah, thank you so much. Because
Please.
thing that we're using, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So, for social movement all over the world, it's about bringing about positive social or environmental outcome. And when I say that, and that's why it's called an investment. It's whether financial, whatever you put over time, such that you make your environment better, you make a people better, so that they can contribute, give back to society. But if you see some of these palliatives that we have, because we have not really sat down to do a proper research and find out exactly how we should go about that, we continue with this system of giving money at random without looking at what will be the return on investment. You have put so that society can be better. The people you are putting, you are supposed to help to improve their lives so that they can give back and contribute to that society to make it better. But what do you see? You see these conditional cash transfers, monies that we are giving out. We have something like trader money, farmer money, all of those monies that are now given to political cronies, people who support our political agenda. So you go to a state, PDP that is in power. You see that it is PDP that is giving to PDP members and sympathizers of PDP. You go to another state, it is APC that is in power. You see that APC that is giving to APC sympathizers and people who support all of that. So you have not done a proper research to find out the people who really need this money that you need to transform their lives. And that's why we started our social investment program on a very faulty foundation. And that also brings me back to the other reason why, and I still keep saying, that we need to bring everything into one house. This issue of having different agencies doing other things, they must be reporting to somebody. And I mentioned that there should be proper oversight, irrespective of whoever is put in power. We have three systems. We have three different layers of oversight. We have the executive, we have the judiciary, and we have the legislative that is supposed to play oversight on the executive. So when you have a policy, you take policy that for the are those who sit in the different legislative houses, either at the state level or at the national level. And because people don't understand the role that the legislators play, we allow them to go free. It is not the duty of a legislator to go to his constituency and be sharing palliatives. Like we have just seen this issue of this price that they gave. They are saying, no, it's part of the palliatives that they are giving. It is not the duty of the legislator to share rice or to bring transformer or to give vehicles. It is the duty of the legislator to pass laws, make sure that budget is provided for all these rights to be given, and then he goes to supervise and ensure that the rights go to the right people that are supposed to be. So that if it doesn't go to the right people, he or she is in a position to call them to order. That is the duty of the legislator. So in looking at this strategy that we have, we really need to sit down and rethink our strategy. If you look at global practices where these social investment programs have worked, they have worked because they have good policies. We have sit down and we are looking, where everybody is talking about, is that money approved so that they can go and check whether the social register that was started. There was sometime last year when we started talking about the social register. I went to my community and I was asking, whose name is on this social register? As we speak, I don't even know the names of the people from my community that is on that social register. Telling you that the process of putting that social register together was faulty. So you can go to that social register and you find out that even in your own community, the poorest of the first name are not on that social register, but you will see party chairman, party secretary, his name and his relatives name will be on that social register. So it is important that, number one, the not people who are on that social register, whatever we transfer happen, we actually get the people. Don't let people to get it.
That's a lot. So the next question now is, what do we do? How do we begin to restructure this process? Because if we keep doing, like he's always said, you can't keep doing the same thing and expect different results. You know, so that's the crux of the matter for discussion this morning.
Yes.
How do we begin to restructure, our social investment programs? Because we like it or not, it is very important.
It is very important.
There is no organization, on earth that doesn't have the welfare unit.
Yes.
That is so important.
Yes.
It means that it is important. So where do we begin from? Let me start with you.
Good. Now, where to begin from is not to gather what other establishments are doing and bring into this ministry at this point, because it is not working well yet. If we put more, and that means more resources, more investment is what we are going to get. There are no two ways about it. Where to begin is the aspects that well-established MDAs can handle should be given over to those MDAs to handle, like this one that handle pensioners, like a head of service that handles civil servants. The one that should go to civil servants should pass through the head of service and get to civil servants just like their salaries get to them or accountant general's office. All right? And so on and so forth. The little we live with this ministry should be monitored to see how effective. Because like she rightly pointed out, when you are talking of the social register, you go down the grassroots and you find out that the poorest of the poor are not even the people being captured. The people captured are the people that supported the politicians during campaigns. Like there's this misnomer in this country where somebody wins the election and I said, this segment did not vote for you. And because of that, development will not go there. That is madness. And that need to be, such people need to be prosecuted. When you are in power, and even, I don't know, people take oath without thinking of the consequences, that you are going to do good to all manner of people without fear of favor, no ill will or whatever. But after swearing that, the next moment is to say, those who voted for you are the one who will get benefit. Those who didn't vote for you massively should be deprived. That's not what you are there for. You are not there for those who voted or who didn't vote. You are there now to administer the common patrimony to each and every one, which most of our politicians have not even come to understand. So we have to make sure that establishments that have things to do, that have to do with this social influence, should be allowed and given resources to carry out when some of these things are earmarked. Little should be left with this establishment. Otherwise, it will be frittered away. That is the truth. Like we're saying, the list is not genuine. The list on the social register is not genuine. And they are not ready to change it today until some drastic things happen. So if you add more, it is just filtering away through the same conduit pipe. You know?
I remember that sometime last year, after a meeting,
Yes.
I think with the governors, the president had a meeting with the governor.
Yes.
And it was decided that the social register should
Yes.
be done based on states.
State level.
The state governors. Do you think that was a good decision at the time?
It was a good decision. It was a good decision. It is left for Nigerians at their own state level to put their eye into what is being done, how their governments utilize it or not. and query it at that level. Because if you don't do it like that and leave it at the federal level with fake social register, the whole thing amounts to nothing. And it's still human beings that will fritter away that money. So let it go down to the states, where you have a good person as governor, it becomes effectively used, then others should query what their own governor did with the one that came to them. At least there's a spread than a concentration of wastages at the center.
Boss Faith, are you still with us? Hello, boss. Okay, we lost her. For you, aside from those things that you've said that we should look into,
yes.
What other things can we do or can be added to make this process a better process?
What should be added is the government in power should take drastic measures to make sure that the people under them are not encouraged by him as the president to get involved. Because going by those who went to verify the social register, if you check the companies, you discover that people who did that are all people with the government in power. They were the people who brought the companies that went and this is how they keep recycling this. Once there's sincerity from the top, then the correct things should be done at each point in time. Let us see sincerity of purpose in clear terms, unambiguous. Let's see so. For instance, as the president has taken some good steps to allow investigation into some spaces, okay, let's make sure that things are done rightly. Because Sheikh Sani, former senator representing Kaduna Central, was saying if it was under Buhari, it will not happen. That's the truth. You know, he will just overlook it and move on. But for him to have opened up that space, let there be sincerity of purpose for the things. What Nigerians are waiting for, to be frank with you, is to see simple honesty from the center. Look at AFCON is going on. African Championship, right?
Yes.
A Cote d'Ivoirian journalist said Nigerian Super Eagles arrived their country, Cote d'Ivoire, broke. He said it's several on television. Broke. And when I watched our first match, I said, for me, my country is involved. I must, only that we don't have power supply most of the time. I will watch when they play, but I won't watch with passion.
And monies were released before.
Thank you. There's Minister of Sports. There are Minister of Sports. There are Minister of Sports. There are people in jail. And there's money relief for this purpose. Yes. But those who are taking injury on the field are denied their pittance. I wanted to do magic. To the point that some Cote d'Ivoirians were saying, the people that invited are playing abroad are big boys. So they should bring their private pocket to go and die for the country that is not ready to do anything for them. That's a big shame. That's the kind of thing we're talking about. Imagine something on this international scale. And we see that happening. Let's see sincerity. When there's sincerity from the top, all Nigerians are ready to comply. That is just the truth. That's the truth.
Well, we're hoping to see that, and we're hoping that Nigeria gets
we just
better.
need to get it. We just need, there are no two ways about it. Especially as this subsidy have been removed. Honestly, all Nigerians are overstretched now. We have to face it. Every Nigerian is overstretched. You go to the market, you come back confused. You know, no matter the amount you go to the market with, what you come back with is annoying. It's insulting. The cost of things makes our lives to be senseless and useless. So we are all upset. We are all overstretched. Let there be sincerity. Not while we are over-tightening our belt, those in power are busy, throwing parties and floating around. Like people started getting annoyed that inauguration of a second time in Imo State, the president had to go there, the Senate president had to go there, and the APC when they are doing jamboree. Whereas many are being kidnapped and slaughtered. If things are happening right, even if they go there, nobody cares. But because people are overstretched continuously, any such moves provokes people the more.
Well, time will not